How y'all doing? Woo! Yay! I thought these were some amazing films, did I not?
Yeah.
I did tell you that. I didn't lie. These microfilms. Look, we have two of the directors and writers here. Before we get to our brief discussion, because I actually wrote down some questions in case y'all had some thoughts. We've been live on Hot Cocoa Critics. That's my show, and if you look it up on YouTube, please feel free to follow. Critiquing movies is what I do. I'm a comedian. I'm Charlene, and I have other comedians on the show, some of whom you may have seen during Black Girl Giggles. So I have special guests all the time. This has been a whole lot of fun, and me and Musa has shown up. Hey, girl, wait. We survived the convention center. Bring up. Want to do it? Look. And so what we're gonna do is feel free to refill your drinks. Keith Gareth. Am I saying your name? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Keith Gareth. He has an accent. I'm not just like glitching. He has an accent. I'm trying to match it. Please tip Gareth and make sure you try that plum if you haven't. And we're just gonna switch the stage up in like 2 seconds for a conversation setup, right? Right. So you have to go to the bathroom, do that. Then yourself, I don't know, text your man back or your woman or your pastor, whoever. Okay, so we're gonna get this stage turned around real quick. Please hang tight. Y'all like that sisterhood theme, like the coming back together thing. I love like a pop piece that breaks up and everyone doesn't get that. We just love it, right?
Most of that beatbox is so bad. I want to know. So good.
That was really good beatboxing. McDonald's burger. Yeah, some bars. Yeah. What about y'all? What
I
did you
think
think?
I think the Tight Like Glue cast. I feel like they gave me a lot of hope
Yeah.
because they look like a young cast of like actors ready to, you know what I mean, like pick up the mantle.
Absolutely.
So definitely makes me want to see what else they got going on.
Right?
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. She's here, so we're gonna dig into that a little bit more. And then what about you? Do you have any?
But honestly, they were all really great. I
Yeah.
thought Cockroach was hilarious, but also like really heartfelt.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the ending. So
It
I think that one was probably the like the one that I loved the most.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't expecting to like that one as much.
Right?
Terrified. That was interesting.
I love that when the roach took flight, immediately we're done being kind. No more solidarity. The message is over. We got it. We received it. Don't kill everything you're afraid of. Minute it starts flying, die, bitch. She's like, oh, this is my house. The minute that roach takes flight, it's over with. So the venue has let us know we have extra time. So there's nothing coming up right behind us. So what? Ew. Meaning there's no other events coming up after this immediately. So we have a little more time just to kind of discuss. So with that said, Ian, is there a way you wanted this to go? Would you like to sit up here? There's another microphone. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yep. This is great. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass it back to Mia. I'm so glad she's here. And just obviously briefly introduce yourselves and take it from there. I do have a couple questions in the hopper just in case you needed some, juice in the combo. Yes. Okay. Cool. And yeah, and you just guide me and tell me what you want me to do. But other than that, I mean, I'm here for the flow. It's all very laid back. Air conditioner's pumping, so we're ready, right? Yeah.
All right, first of all, thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. So yes, I'm here. I do stand up. I'm here for Black Girl Giggles. I'm the writer, producer, the director of my little game. It's important for me to put together events like this because I ran my project through the film festival circuit. A lot of like Black film festivals um don't have a lot of comedy unless there's like a celebrity back behind it, you know. And then a lot of mainstream film festivals don't have a lot of Black women present, you know. And I feel like comedy is how we express ourselves. I know I had the video earlier saying it, but I just want to reiterate, it's how we express ourselves in kind of like a more pure, raw form. Sometimes I'll watch old episodes like Def Comedy Jam or whatever, and things that have gotten lost in history you hear in a more raw form. And so I just wanted to create uh, spaces where audiences are being connected to these stories so that we increase our craving for it and understanding the value and importance of it. But also to connect the filmmaking world and the comedy world. We already know it's connected. You know, we have Whoopi Goldberg that started with stand up, Jamie Foxx, you know, all of our major actors started in stand up, but on an independent level, we're not connecting as much as we need to. So I thank you guys again for coming. I'm gonna pass it over to Alyse. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
You're on.
Okay, perfect. Well, hi, I'm Alyse Marie. Thank you for having me, Mia. I am the creator, director, and star of Tight Like Glue. And it is a living single drama spinoff. It's a proof of concept that I put out earlier this month. And it has done really well online. And I sent it to Mia, and Mia was like, well, we're playing it. And so I'm so happy to be here today. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for your comment already. And I'm happy to talk more about it. Yes.
Perfect.
Cool. Okay, I'm here. Am I? Yeah, I'm here. So one of the questions that I had was, is there a particular theme that you prefer to tell stories about? Because I know one of the things that we talk about on my podcast, Hot Cocoa Critics, is themes and through lines. Like there were a few sisterhood themes I noticed throughout the film festival selections. Conflict is always necessary in storytelling, right? I like the elevated level of conflict that was in Tight Like Glue. And in my lore gig, I really did like how it shows how we as women of color are struggling to kind of make our place in the world and then keep our friendships intact and family relationships intact, or figure out a way to still have time for our craft while hustling. Just the hustle of the city. And so, is there a particular theme that you tend to go with, or that you prefer to see, or hear more about, or maybe the story you want to tell more often? Was that question even clear?
Yes.
I've had a lot of pull on this.
Oof.
Yep.
Well, then I'll just
Well, yes.
Um, for sure. I think right now, particularly for me as a creator, I am looking to do more YA spaces. I think there's Black girls missing in coming of age stories, and that is my priority to do that right now. Um, in Tight Like Glue, there is I to answer the question, sorry, is about that family dynamic conflict. Yes, I love to tell story around friendship and family. I think it's so I think dynamic, and sometimes we skip past like familial and platonic love and don't and put romantic love on a pedestal, and we don't get to explore that in the hurt, the pain, the good times, the trust of how that can really be the foundation of who we are and what we do. And so those two things combined together, the YA, the family, the friendship, I think really do make up Tight Like Glue and speak to who I am as a creator.
Um, I lost my train of thought. I'll
Sorry.
keep into that. I'm just like, yes, exactly. You know, kind of almost piggybacking on what she said, and like, because a lot of times romantic love is put up there as far as like how we do storytelling.
Yeah.
And I know I am, and I'm not against that at all. You know what I mean?
Never.
I had wanted to see more stories where that's not the central focus of the story, because our lives are way more dynamic than that. And a movie or a show or a short, my thing is 7 minutes. So it's just like in 7 minutes, there's so many other things that can be communicated and can be explored. So in my case, one, I like absurdist comedy, you know. And the funny thing about my project, and when I'm pitching it to execs, like, because the goal is they're gonna have more episodes, and some of the episode concepts, they're just like, that's too crazy. But all of them are based off of some story somebody told me or a personal experience I had. So like in mine, where she's doing the medical experiment, it didn't look like that, but that was an experiment that my friend did. You know what I mean? So it comes off as absurd, but it's real. So I like for it to be absurd and I like for it to be real. I say that comedy is a funhouse mirror. It gives you like a distorted reflection that makes you think more deeply about what the reality is. And I also like, I think a lot of, again, Black projects air too heavy on hustle culture, and a lot of times when it's Black women, it's strippers, and a lot of times when it's Black men, it's drugs. And again, I'm not against any of that, but there's so many other ways that people hustle,
Yeah.
especially nowadays. And gig work has become such a part of how we do things. And gig work exposes you to so many different types of people. And so I'm from Baltimore. The project is based in Baltimore. I say that Baltimore is a character of the show, and I want to see more stories of Baltimore because most people know it in a very linear way. They only know the wire, you know, they only know the crime, and that's not going to be absent from my show. I'm not trying to do like a positivity piece or whatever. You know, my father was a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Very Baltimore, but like, there's so much more to it. It's a very quirky city. It's a very absurd city. It's a very dynamic city. So again, if I am a delivery driver, or if I'm an Uber driver, I end up being able to uh, interact with those different parts and that diversity that exists not only, of course, in the city I'm from, but you know, anywhere, everywhere. You know.
Yeah, I do want to say, that that clinical trial looking scene where she was in the medical trial and you could tell that that's what was going on. And you could tell that she was like, I need to act as out of my mind as I can so I can get this check. That was clearly conveyed. I also like that that was put in there because there is um undeniably an unhealed relationship with Black people and the medical community. So I think that that is a humorous way of looking at that very, very, controversial topic. And I also think that it is important to show different types of hustle because you only have such a short amount of time to tell a story, and the impact of both of your films was felt, and we were able to gather that. And also, as it pertains to like love, and like we all love a rom com, I'm sure, and love stories are cool, 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 cool. But when it doesn't work out, you need your sisters, you need your friends. So you gotta nurture those relationships because who can you run to?
Okay.
When you lose love, it's an old girl.
Yes.
And there's so many good stories out there about sisterhood, and I think we can't get enough of it. Also, representation in young adult fiction is so important. We don't have enough of seeing like there's this whole conversation around girlhood, right? For black girls and how Black girls don't get a chance to have girlhood and have coming of age. It's like the minute you kind of hit puberty or not, they're like over sexualizing you. The family's telling you to cover up. And all they say is don't get pregnant. They never let you celebrate actually being a mother. Being a mother is never an exciting, enriching thing. It's like nothing to look forward to. It's a don't do it or else, right? So I think that to show the evolution of a young woman, and in that weird time of like college or like right out of college and grad school, and it's such a fucking weird time, but it's the best friendships come from that because it's kind of a trauma bond. It's like it's like a hip cool girl like trauma bond. And so I cannot get enough of that. So that's a theme I truly love, and I have friends that I'm still friends with to this day because of that. I do want to ask, is there like a theme that you are so sick and tired of seeing? Like, is there because absurdist comedy, wait, let me back up before I push that question. Absurdist comedy, there is absolutely room for it. There are so many things out right now, like even in like the horror space. This shit is absurd.
Yeah.
It's like what it's gonna take for us in a post pandemic lockdown era to hold our attention. We need the most absurd things because otherwise we're on our phone. we're texting, we're doing multiple things, but it's on audiobook. So we need that absurdist. Please hold on to that because we need it. It's just the wrong producers. That's it. They don't know how to produce it, but it is necessary. Okay. Yeah. So yes, this the snaps, the finger. Okay. So yeah, is there a theme you're absolutely not maybe sick and tired of, or feel like if you see it again, it needs to be done a totally different way, or maybe even trying to avoid it in your mind?
Ooh, I'm one of them complaining people.
Yeah.
Like, what do I say first? I don't know. Honestly, I don't think it's about the content. I do think it's about the quality of storytelling.
Yeah.
I complain a lot about how streaming has shifted storytelling. Like I've been watching a lot of 80s stuff. And 80s movies are absolutely ridiculous. Like you could tell people were on cocaine when they came but it keeps your attention because the storytelling is on point. You know what I mean? And I think that we've lost the art of storytelling because we're more worried about how like clipping it, how it's going to be clipped for social media, how it's going to keep people watching enough to advertise this thing to them, you know. And so I get upset watching Netflix where it's like trash for the first 6 episodes,
Yeah.
but something happens at the end that make you keep watching it, but you're not really paying attention. So they repeat the plot 5 times in the movie, and then it's kind of good by the end, you know. So I'm getting a little sick of that. I'm happy. I feel like more original stories are starting to come to the surface because Hollywood is scrambling right now. To figure it out. Um, but yeah, I just want to see more original stories. I want to see fresh ideas, even if it is like a type like Blue. You know what I mean? Like I love living single, but there is space and room to say, what does that look like now? What was their offspring? You know, what does their offspring look like now? You know, how would the people that these people raised come out? You know, how are things different? How are things the same? And I think, like I said, having that angle is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's exactly where it comes from. I think I I don't know if there's like a genre or something like that, but I will say that I do find it hard to watch anything if there's no people of color in it.
Uh-huh.
Period. If I turn on something and I'm only seeing white people, I I find it hard today to continue to watch it because it is 2026 and there's no world in which there's only white people and that's the extent of the storytelling and I really do find it hard to watch. And not saying that everything that has to be all black all the time, but it does need to include a myriad of people. Um, and so that's that. Hey, I guess nothing I can do about that. You know, yeah.
And look, and that's a good point to make. And I'm not like unapologetically plugging my podcast, but I will say this. There's a reason that my podcast started on just critiquing Black Christmas movies. Because for the longest, we've been watching Christmas movies on Lifetime, on Hallmark,
Sure.
and it's just white people.
And yeah.
Always. And we just kind of never were like, okay, you know. And then Hallmark tried to do a film that I always talk about. I hated it so much. Where a Kwanzaa cookie. First of all, I know I didn't know there was a Kwanzaa cookie as a note. Was gonna save the town and it saved the Jubilee, the Christmas bazaar, and the bakery all at once. I even went on Pinterest to see what is the ingredients that go on a Kwanzaa cookie. Nutmeg mainly. There's still not a cookie though.
Okay.
That's Hallmark. They don't know how to tell Black stories. They do not. But the reason for the show is to highlight Black art. It's evolving into that, but it's highlighting us in spaces where you don't normally see us, and then knowing the names of our actors, our favorite actors from the 90s, because we're getting a lot of work now in these films that BET puts out, that the streaming apps put out. Also, last year at Essence Festival, or maybe it was the year before, sat in on a panel talking about bringing books to film. And one thing that was said was for as much representation as you think you're seeing of Black acting and producing and directing, it's still nominal compared to what is out there. It's just more obvious because it's us. We like seeing ourselves, right? But even from books being published by Black publishing companies or independently published. A lot of our Black authors are having to put out our stories through white owned publications. All of that to say that there was this one producer from MGM Plus. He was on the panel and he said, I don't care if you don't think you like it, watch it anyway. Stream Black shows anyway, because it allows for us to get the funding, have the backing to create more. Then you can critique it. Then you can get in the reviews and say, I didn't like that wig, or that top was not believable, or whatever. But we have to support it. Even if you're just making dinner and you just have it running in the background, please. So this is how the projects are funded, because if these big streaming companies don't know or don't think that they're being watched, that our shows are being watched, they're not going to continue to make them. And so, even if we're tired of seeing drug dealers, it's fine. You just have it on in the background, let the click, clack, and then you go on to something else, okay? But no, I totally agree. Okay, so now I'm going to get to some looser questions, if that's cool, and they're short. And please feel free to chime in. One, in the movie Swipe, they went into their boyfriend's house, these three women, and they stole from him. Do y'all ever think it's okay to is there a justification for breaking and entering and then stealing something? Because at first I thought, okay, they had a couple of items in there that were theirs, but then they took the cat. And I was like, now this is absurd.
Right.
They took the cat. So is there some justification in the court of law to break and enter and take something?
I feel like we should open that up to them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and open it and please feel free to be like, yes, and did. Oh, yeah. Y'all are not on camera.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, depending on what we're talking about, there's almost a justification for everything. It's very there is a list. There's a short list of things that then you will never get from me to understand. But absolutely take it. Go ahead.
For
Oh, and may I also say, I to go back to your last question,
absolutely.
which is about something else I'm tired of seeing. I don't love the idea that every time there is a big Black film out or a series out, that if we don't support it, then we won't make another one. When everybody else gets the flop all the time, and they still make stuff.
Right.
Still make stuff, and it's like we have to keep proving it over and over and over, and it's tough. But and that's why I say take it. Yeah.
Hey, and also, you know what? There's no shame in justifying your job, right? Like, I love that you gave that counter opinion, because this man needs to work, so he's gonna say, watch it. Right. There was a bit of a shuck and a jive in it all. Sure. But yeah, I love that. Okay. Anybody else? Justifying? Yeah. No.
I'm gonna say no. Everybody else gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Anybody?
You can still out of the road.
I would say in the context of that, he stole all that shit from women.
Exactly.
So they were not stealing from him; they were returning the goods he stole. He would bring some worse place.
And there we go.
Even the
Okay.
cat, because the woman called him was like, "It's my cat." Cat. So I'm saying like,
Just
I just
thank you.
that was like very kind.
Hey,
Right.
Yes.
Just how I'm feeling. Justice. Ooh, I'm writing that down. I like that. Tidy justice. Hashtag tidy justice. Like, literally, it's like the punishment fit the crime. Like that. I don't know you same time, equal exchange.
yeah.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yes.
Okay, and she pleads the fifth, and that's fine, because our bodies are a crime scene. Yeah. No, that's okay, girl. No, I feel you. I understand. I get it. And then I have one more question. Like, anybody else totally terrified of roaches? Like, have any of you ever tried to just give your house back to a big ass flying ass roach here in the South?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was a child, one bit me.
What? They have
They bite?
I didn't know they bite.
They bite?
You got bit by one?
Oh my god.
Traumatizer.
Because some people try to say that the New York rats are way scarier, and so roaches are like not a big deal.
Absolutely not.
No, that's scary.
Absolutely.
Rats are scary.
They're scary. Yeah.
Okay.
Rats don't fly though. That's why they.
That's
I
bad.
agree.
But they can just get roaches.
And they fly.
I was part.
Either way, either way. Okay, well, this show is not sponsored by Terminix. It's going. All right, and then I did want to check in really quick. Is there anything in particular you wanted to say? Because I do want to get maybe a quick score overall of like the films that we felt like were submitted for the show. It's peppermint hot chocolates, but you can just give a score of 1 through 5 as how you felt, maybe for your favorite. And if you don't have a favorite, you loved it all, that's okay too. But we do have to give a score that is like how I tend to wrap things. But first, before we get to scoring, any final comments, thoughts?
Well, I'm just curious if anybody in the audience had any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Did y'all have any questions?
I actually did have a question
Yes.
for Tight Like Glue.
Perfect.
So, what inspired the connection between Living Single and this, considering that it is for young adults and young adults may not have that background knowledge on Living Single? So, yeah, what inspired
That's a good question.
I was rewatching Living Single as one should, as one does. And I was really I've always been inspired by Queen Latifah, by Bentley Bowser, and that entire show. I was watching the show when I wasn't supposed to. And I really imagined like what if their wildest dreams came true. And that's the launch pad of this show. There's not an arbitrary tie to the show of like, oh, well, I'll just put Living Single on the banner of it. It really stemmed from what does their best, most successful versions of themselves look like, and how does that then open the door for their kids' lives and what that next generation looks like. And I based that off of the proof off of that concept. And so, hopefully there's good news to share soon about actually looking into everything. But I am really thrilled and glad that people have resonated with it. I don't take it lightly, the legacy of Living Single. It does mean a lot to people. For people who have not seen it, to answer, it's a spinoff. So if you haven't seen it, I believe it's something you can pick up. But I always recommend that you go back and see what is the inspiration for such a new show, And so, yeah.
I do want to say that I love the little Easter eggs
Thank you.
When she came out in the African.
Yes.
I was expecting them to go and start doing ulating.
Thank you. There are a few Easter eggs, and I think that's part of what I would love to do, like for the series overarching, is like lay those little Easter eggs in from the show that people will appreciate. You've seen the series, but if not, you can still laugh and think it's funny without having that prior back knowledge there. But yes, thank you. I'm so glad when people see them and are like, I picked this up. Yes.
Good job.
Thank you.
I do have a question for my Lord Gig. Actually, I want you to say the title because I feel like we are butchering it as non-Bostonians.
My little gig.
Okay,
So Lord, that's how we say
little, yeah.
Because we don't really pronounce our house. So.
How does Baltimore function as like I guess a character in the film? Like you know what I mean? Like you clearly love Baltimore. Like could that have been made anywhere else? Like or does Baltimore feel like its own personal? Like it has to be filmed there?
That's actually a good question. For me, yes, it has to be filmed there. My goal with it is to expose different parts of the culture. But when we were making it as Baltimoreans for Baltimoreans, you know what I mean? So we never made it explicitly clear that's where it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I've shown it all over the country, and I've been in different places, and they were like, was that Jersey? Was that Ohio? Was that it resonated, and they was trying to figure out where it was. So I think the story could be told at different places, but even like you said with the medical experiment part, Hopkins is like #1 research university.
Yeah.
How that affects our lives is very significant. The beginning just kind of B-roll scene where there's what we call a squeegee boy. That's a big part of the culture. The music that's a part of is Baltimore club music. That's the soundtrack for it. So that's a big part of the culture. I can't remember the rest of the scenes right now, but like the future episodes all will focus on one gig in particular, and we get introduced to those like archetypal characters that are in the city. But again, that we know, not necessarily most people know. So I don't think from an outside audience it'll feel like this is Baltimore specific. Because like, you know, like we have a region that's one of the premier art schools, Micah, and so it's an artsy area. So I grew up just thinking white people were weird. You know, I wasn't around normal white people. I've only been around like either, you know, kind of hood white people, you know, working class white people, or quirky, queer, colorful, you know, wearing a skirt but you straight white people. That's what I was exposed to. Like very similar to New Orleans. Baltimore and New Orleans are very similar. So it's like people might not know that's Baltimore, but it very much so is a part of our fabric. So yeah, that's what I want to expose, you know what I mean, and just have fun and play with. You know, archetypes, you know, just all of that. Just our city is also a very like dancing city, a very musical city, which I think more people are starting to get exposed to. But it is not abnormal to be riding down the street and just seeing somebody dance on the corner, you know, and it's not for money, you know what I mean? We're not a tourist city. So it's not for money. It's just, you know, they could be at drugs, but they might not be, you know. But yeah, so that's
Lindsay. So, question for your film. I know that you brought up a lot of ways to make money, and I appreciate the fact that you didn't throw in their OnlyFans or make it like a sexual thing. Like you gave her other avenues that, you know, what was your reason behind it?
so yeah, I was really adamant about that. It's not in the series at all. Everybody that comes up to me and give me gig ideas, everybody wants a stripper episode, or the OnlyFans episode. I did originally write an episode where she's trying to sell feet pics. That I ended up swiping out for her being a live mermaid, which again is which again is inspired by somebody's real story. The guy hired to be a live mermaid, but she doesn't know how to swim, and she ends up like freaking out. But I just feel like it's overdone. Not only do I feel like it's overdone, I actually have a joke about this, but it's just like a lot of and again, I'm not against sex work at all, you know, but there's a lot of rhetoric from a lot of like the red pillars and like guys. They make it seem like anytime a woman is doing well, it's because of sex work, you know. And so the joke that I had, you know, as a single woman homeowner, you know, single women homeowners are outpacing single men homeowners. And the first thing I saw was like, oh, it's because they got it in a divorce, or it's because they got OnlyFans, and that's why they got money. And it's just like y'all are saying that as if y'all can't get an OnlyFans too. Like you're prostitute. You know, like you can sell your whole, you can be right out there. Like you make it like it's exclusive to women.
Yeah.
You know, and it's again so many ways, and we don't see that from women. But there's so many ways that women hustle and make money and save money and figure things out that we don't really see play out on screen a lot. So I just wanted to explore that idea again because it is very relevant and of the time. Most of us cannot survive off of one job. You know, so most people are doing multiple things.
Yeah.
You might work in HR and you sell earrings on the side, you know, like so I just wanted to expose that culture of that.
That's awesome. I think it's really needed. Like the gig economy is what is supporting so many folks. So we're on board.
For both of your films, the casting stood out like as incredibly strong as far as like chemistry between the characters and just like the characters like really joyfully performing the comedy. How did you for like indie film like how did you handle the casting? Because it was really like both of them it stood out as like really colorful.
There were some people I went to school with, and I knew that I wanted them for this project. Drea Wallong, who plays my best friend in it, I had only seen her work, but I knew she would just be perfect for it. And she was awesome, right? And it really hit the nail on the head with the comedy, too, and was willing to play and was just awesome to work with. Everyone else, I also reached back into either classes I had been in and I knew that they were right for it. So at this particular production is one of the first ones that actually didn't hold the casting call. I had and knew enough people where I knew where they fit and I could use the source catalog and hopefully, that's not the only project I get to do this on, but I mean, hopefully, I get to broaden this up to more folks as well.
So, yeah, as a comedian, I'm just surrounded by, other comedians. So everyone that was featured was a comic, out of Baltimore. Um, and outside of the main character, actually, I had somebody else in mind for that, but the other girl I had in mind ended up moving out of town. And I actually got a little nervous because I was just like, I think she'll work, but I was like, I don't know if she act or nothing. But it was the day of shooting. I was just like, we just gonna figure this out. I ain't, screen test or nothing. But she ended up killing it. Everybody else I started to kind of, because she's from like a suburb of Baltimore. She grew up mostly around white people. I had kind of wrote it originally where she's quirky and alternative, but she's still kind of hood. So some things I had to switch up because I don't want you trying to do that. Like, please don't do a black accent as a black person. Like, I just like we just going to shift it to you and your personality. So that's what I told everybody. Like, I wrote with them in mind, but I gave them space to improv so it could feel as natural as possible. I didn't want it to feel like they were acting. And I just think, I mean, people have other opinions about this, but I just think comedy because we're just natural. And I'm not including myself in this. I don't want to act, but we are we are natural observers of the world. We kind of mimic and watch people. But also we are accustomed to like improv. But that's one thing that some directors don't like about working with comics because comics want to do what they want to do, and they used to doing what they want to do. But I gave them space to do that.
Before you think for more questions, these are really good questions.
Yes, thank you.
Very insightful. Love the casting question. Look, love the living single, question. That was really good. And, I think that might be why Tight Like Glue felt so familiar and safe is because of the living single inspired foundation.